Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of CPP4Beginners.com's tutorial series on learning C++. I am Damien, your host, and this is going to be lesson number 42, the meaning of life, depending on who you ask. And we're going to be talking a little bit about randomity and a little bit about functions. So let's get rolling on that real quick. Now, if we take a normal variable, say int x, and set it equal to just rand. Mind you, you need the it's a function call, so you need the parentheses after rand. So okay, let me just get rid of those. Oh, and I forgot to see out it. But you'll see that my console just crashed. Hang on. Alright, and I'm back. Sorry about that. So when we recompile this again, now that it's working, we get a number that looks pretty random. But if we give this program a run for a second time, unfortunately it's the same number. So what we need to do to actually seed a random number is to do something like this. srand time null. Now, whenever we run this program again, we're going to get a decidedly different number. Now, if we want that number to be within a certain range, say 1 to 5, what we need to do is we need to mod rand by 5, and we're going to want that to be in a set of parentheses, and then plus 1, because this mod 5 actually means that it's going to be a random number in the 0 to 4 range. So since we want it to be 1 to 5, we need to add 1 to that. Okay, so if we give this a couple of runs, we'll see and it comes out to 3 and 3 again, and don't make a liar out of me and come up 3. There we go. 2, you know. So, alright. Continuing on, I wanted to talk a little bit about functions and just go back over them again. Now, functions, when I do them, they have two parts. You don't necessarily need to do a prototype, but it's just good form to do one. The prototype is the part where you declare a function before you actually use it. So, for example, let's say I'm going to have a function that doesn't return anything, so it'll be a void. Sorry, I sneezed. And let's just name it, just menu disp. And let's pass it, let's pass it nothing. Let's just make it a cout statement. Now, if I wanted to, I could actually put this function right here up top. The reason why I don't is for readability's sake. So let's say I wanted to do something like cout. Welcome to the press 1 for bacon. And then just cn. I'm not even going to bother with that. So, okay. Now, if I just call menu disp from there, it'll totally work. And unfortunately, due to the nature of functions, that's actually not going to work. The reason behind why is because it's not in the correct scope. So what I need to do here is add std because it came before my using statement. And there we go. So in this case that wasn't particularly pretty because I had the 1 from this before it, but aside from that, it worked out okay. So you can use menu or any function before your int main. The downside is sometimes, you'll look at somebody's program and it's like 7 pages of functions. And then, 3 lines of int main and or well, maybe 5 lines on int main, and it just calls the functions in different order, and it's just a disorganized mess. So when I look at a program, I like to see, just prototypes up here. So the prototype for this, I'm just going to copy that, would actually just be that. And then we throw the actual declaration of our function down here. And this will compile exactly the same, although I did add a \n there. So, or well, not exactly the same because it is pseudo-random. So, a function is basically 2 parts. Number 1, it's the return type, and number 2, it's what you can pass into it. In this case, menu display, it's pretty boring. We don't pass anything into it, and it doesn't return anything. So let's take something that will actually return us something and play with that a little bit. So let's say we'll do one for circumference, and we'll have it return a double. So double circum, and what do we need for circumference? Circumference is Jesus, is it? How long has it been for me? I believe circumference is pi r squared. Hang on, I'm gonna check that so I don't make an ass of myself. My apologies, it's 2 pi r. I was confusing the area of a circle with the circumference. Yeah, I had a feeling that didn't quite sound right. So, okay, we're going to need to pass it the radius, which will also be a double. And I think that'll be it. So, what we'll do here is take in a double, and we'll call it rad. And I'm just going to comment this stuff out as well. Okay, so in this case we're going to cin for rad. If you want, you can string stream that. I'm not going to. So what we would then do is we would pass rad into our function, circumference. So we're going to call circum, or no, we would have to set let's make another double and name it circumference. Equals. Okay, so what this means is that we're setting the local variable circumference equal to the outcome of what happens in our function circum when it is past the double rad, or radius. So we'll come down here and we'll say double circum, and that's being passed double radius. Again, you can change the names of internal variables in here. Whatever gets passed in these parentheses is going to be this variable. So we're dealing with circumference, so as I just stated, we need a variable called pi. So double pi equals 3.1415. And then all we really need to do is take 2 multiplied by radius multiplied by pi, and we'll set that equal to circum. and double circum. So once we have that figured out, we simply return circum. Let's add an F there, just so people don't get confused with the name of the function. Okay, and then we're going to see out the Alright, let's give that a run real quick, see if it works. Alright, and a value for the radius, I'll go with 10, because it should be pretty easy to check. And the circumference of the circle is 62.83. That didn't work quite how I wanted it to. I mean, I don't know if it's right, so let's see. Yeah, okay, so that works. I'm a bit better with multiples of 10 than I am with 20. So, okay, what have we covered here? We've covered going over functions. We've covered that I haven't been in geometry in about 12 years. Despite being in higher maths, I clearly still forget simple formulas a lot, which is why I always have a formula sheet with me. We've covered how to use functions and function prototypes to make our program clean and execute in a proper manner. You saw me run into an issue where I couldn't use cout because I put something before using namespace. We talked a bit about srans, and I have vector up here. I was going to do a statement using vector, but meh. So what I want you guys to take away from this is every single function you make has to have a return type, even if the return type is void. You have to be able to pass it variables, or well, you have to have the parentheses there, even if you're not passing a variable into it. And if you have a return type, you should do something with it. In this case, I set it equal to a local variable. You can actually make it cout, you can do lots of things. So play around with that a little bit, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!